Hello everyone, welcome to FedScoop TV. My name is Greg Otto and we're here at the 2016 Red Hat Government Symposium today, and I'm talking with Rob Efrus, the founder and CEO of Efrus Federal Advisors, but you're also here representing the Coalition for Enterprise Open Source Software in Government. Before we get started, tell me about this coalition.
The coalition was formed, Greg, to educate federal IT stakeholders on the differences between free open source and supported or enterprise versions of open source software.
Okay, interesting. So my first question then is directly in your wheelhouse. What strides has the government made in open source, and what do you expect to see in the next administration?
The government has made tremendous strides, starting back in 2009 when the Department of Defense enacted a policy promoting open source, and since then it's been proliferating throughout the government in the intelligence sector as well as in civilian agency sectors. This administration, the outgoing Obama administration, has been very, very supportive of open source software, and there are policies in place that I believe will be transitioned to the new administration, identifying the rules of the road for using open source and promoting it in some cases as the default for government and industry software developers.
Okay, so cybersecurity has been top of mind for this administration. How do you see open source boosting the cybersecurity mission of the federal government?
It is integral to the cybersecurity mission of the federal government to the extent that open source is found throughout the software infrastructure running government IT programs. What's interesting, though, is that in its effort to minimize the costs of using software, the government has often defaulted to the use of free open source software, which requires a government or systems integrator developer to modify that open source software to make it compliant with government requirements. What often doesn't happen, though, is the full government or industry compliance with federal information security standards. And this is one of the key points that we make in our coalition, that you have companies like Red Hat, Alfresco, Enterprise DB, and others who are taking the steps necessary to make their open source software compliant with federal security standards when many times the free open source software as modified does not meet those standards. So it bears watching moving forward in the next administration.
Okay, another big thing is the push from OMB to modernize IT systems. As agencies look to do that, how does open source benefit that?
Open source is integral to that initiative as well, Greg. The Office of Management and Budget and Federal CIO Tony Scott just came out with a policy in August requiring that agencies reuse software developed by the government, and in particular avoid situations where custom software applications are developed in a way that they cannot be reused. So it's very important from a legacy modernization standpoint for the government to be able to take software, open source software that's developed in one agency instance and be able to reuse that and avoid the stovepipe custom software development. And open source is very much in that path.
So where else do you see open source being beneficial for agencies that are looking to carry out their IT mission? Is it in the speed? Is it in mobility? Is it in collaboration and breaking down those silos? Where do you see open source giving agency offices an advantage?
It's integral to all of those, Greg. From a collaboration standpoint, the roots of open source and our coalition is in the community-developed versions of open source software, and collaboration is integral to that. In mobility, the development of applications which will run on mobile devices, which now are replacing or will replace in the federal government the use of personal computers, is also very much a part of that vision. So open source will continue to play a very important role there.
Great. Rob, thanks for joining us today. Appreciate your insight.
Thank you, Greg.